Well, here's a scenario. Daughter calls me this morning and she announces that she has unlocked some new emojis on the dashboard of this here EV. Now, like every car owner, when you hear those words, first thing you think is expensive repair. And I'm here to tell you that this one's an easy one. And guess what? The crazier the dashboard is, the easier it is to diagnose this issue. Let's fix this car. Now the question is, what does every EV need to start? Yeah, you've got your high voltage battery under there, but guess what? That battery's disconnected from the car when it's just sitting parked. So in order to wake up the car, you need one of these. Yep, most EVs still have the good old lead acid 12 volt battery. And guess what? If this battery has got an issue, your car will not move. And your daughter will call you about a bunch of emojis on your dashboard. Now the good news, other than getting a great workout, slugging around a 12 volt lead acid battery, this one's easy to fix. Now before we get into this, I should mention, not every EV has a 12 volt lead acid battery. Some of them have lithium batteries. Same idea, it's a little battery to wake up the electronics and safely connect the high voltage battery so you can drive away. Some Teslas and some other models out there will have a lithium battery that's hidden away. This video is not for you guys. This video is for most of the EV owners who still have a conventional 12 volt lead acid battery in their vehicle. So what does it look like when you fire up an EV that has this issue? Well, let's have a look here. Foot on the brake, power on, and you'll see service EV system no power, and pretty much every light is on the dash. And we're gonna get some flickering here probably pretty soon and all kinds of weird things. It's kind of scary, but it's all about the 12 volt battery. So we're going to turn the vehicle off here, like so, and we're gonna resolve this issue. Before we do anything, a little bit of safety. So if you're not wearing some kind of protective eyeglasses, when you're doing this type of work, you should have some safety glasses on, and you might wanna throw a set of gloves on. So we'll do that. All right, with a little bit of safety taken care of, we are going to disconnect this battery. I'm gonna be doing a simple load test on it and some other things. And you know, I'm not a fan of doing those things when the vehicle is hooked up. Actually, before we disconnect it though, I'm gonna show you a method that will potentially get you out of some trouble. If you are stuck and the battery is low, there is a way to get you basically going. And here's the trick. All right, this is the Noco Boost GB40. I've had this for a few years. This thing is super handy. It is great for jumping 12 volt batteries of any kind. Now, I much prefer using this to jumping a car. In fact, I don't even have jumper cables in this car because too many bad things happen now with people who inappropriately jump or connect two different cars together. Why? Because there's too many ways to hook them up incorrectly or cause a damage to one of the electrical systems on either car. So I much prefer this. And what you can do if your EV is having these hysterics is you can go ahead and connect up one of these boost units. And to do that, we're just gonna disconnect the two leads. We're making sure that the unit is off. And we're gonna go in here and, well, I'll just stick that right there. We're gonna hook that on there. Actually, that can sit right there. We're gonna hook that there. And now we're gonna go ahead and power this unit on. Actually, that is the light. So I guess if you're in the dark and you need a light, by all means, fire up the light. But no, what I meant to do is we wanna turn this unit on. We're waiting for this white LED to be white and this pattern. This means that the vehicle is ready to jump. Once this is connected, you can go into the vehicle, even if you're by yourself, and try and start it. And very often, this will get you going. Now, once the various computers are powered up with sufficient 12 volt power, they will enable the contactor in the main 400 volt battery. That's the big battery underneath the car. And something called the DC to DC converter will then provide power to your battery, and that will get you home. The trick is don't turn it off. If you have to stop, basically leave the car on, lock it, or better still, just get to a garage or get to your home where you can address the issue properly. Now, we did make it home. We did manage to get the vehicle fired up and moving with the help of the GB40. And once we got it home, now it's time to put in a new battery. And guess what? It's pretty simple. To do this repair, all you're gonna need is a 10mm wrench for most cars. You'll be surprised at how many use 10 mil, regardless of how they're made. And we're gonna remove the two battery cables and we're gonna set them out of the way. All right, now I've already loosened these off, so that's quick and easy. And normally there is a hanger here and there'll be, well, let's get the hanger. Here's the hanger here. There's a hook here and a hook here. And all you have to do is using your 10 mil is loosen this nut either on one or both sides and drop these hooks out of the tray and you will be good to go to remove this battery. It's pretty straightforward. This is where gloves are nice. Before we run out and purchase a new battery, we want to make sure that this battery is not just low on charge. And that can happen if you, say, fire up the car in accessory mode, listen to the tunes for half an hour. This will deplete, running the car in accessory mode will deplete this battery very quickly because it's small. So if you're in an EV, don't run it in accessory mode, just turn it on. And that will keep this battery topped up, and there'll be no danger of running it low. So we're going to basically charge this thing up. So we'll hook up our leads plus, and obviously if you're just going to charge it, those clamps can be on there. It's not going to hurt anything. What we have here is a smart charger that will charge up this battery. And guess what? This particular battery charged up fine. In my experience, a battery that eventually gets to fully charged is not necessarily a good battery. The only way to tell if it's good is actually to put a load on it, is to load test it. So we have a very inexpensive solution that we're going to look at to basically show us what the situation is with this battery. So we're going to disconnect this charger. It will, by the way, and it has because I've tested it, it will fully charge this battery in very short order, and it will show that everything's good. But that does not mean that the battery is okay, as I said. So the only way to do that really is to load test it. This is what we're going to be using today. A super simple load tester. You can buy these for 35 bucks. They are essentially a voltmeter with a heater or resistor essentially in line. Now, you can go out and buy a fancy pants electronic battery tester, but my experience is that the only really accurate way to check if a battery is definitively bad is to put an actual load on it. Now, this has a heating element in it and a momentary switch and a voltage gauge and a very simple legend that you can follow along. It basically puts a 100 amp load, this one, on the batteries, and will show you what the voltage drop is. And if you're seeing a voltage drop that gets into the bad range, then you know that you have a bad battery. So let's hook it up and see what we get. We're gonna place this here. For this, I would disconnect the battery because just to be safe, to make sure that you're not, if there's something else going on with your EV, that you're not making the problem worse. And also, obviously, make sure you've got your polarity right on these connections. And we should be able to see this in the overhead camera. Right now we're showing 13 volts, and you're thinking, okay, that looks great. And by the way, if you just put a voltmeter on this battery and you see 13 volts, you might assume that the battery is okay. What this tester is it applies a 100 amp load when you push this momentary switch. And the instructions in this particular unit, because this is a resistive element, you're not going to sit here and hold this all day, but we're going to hold it for about 10 seconds. So you can do the old 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000, 9 1000, 10 1000. And you can see what's going on. This battery is basically definitely going into the red zone and is telling you, this simple load test is telling you this battery is not good. And you know what? It's about 4 years old. That's about all you're going to get with these batteries. I don't go out and buy super expensive batteries because I honestly feel like the super expensive ones fail in 4 years, just like the less expensive ones go, especially in an EV. So as long as you can relax about the emojis that come up on your dash, this is the way to do it. Now, the replacement battery wasn't that expensive. It's not a big battery. It was about $150, I think, with tax in. It has a CCA value of 500 and cold cranking amps of 620, so 620 cold cranking amps. Obviously, with an EV, you're not worried about cranking amps. You just want the voltage to be there when you turn the vehicle on. So let's swap it out. Now, when you're putting the new battery in, pay close attention to what's plus and what's negative. Black is always negative. It's the minus on the battery, and the plus is red. Red is positive. So just take an extra close look. You do not want to hook this up backwards, and you want to make sure these clamps are out of the way so they're not unintentionally making contact with things around. So we have plus here, negative here. For giggles, let's hook this one up to the load tester because this is a good battery. It's brand new and fully charged. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000, 9 1000, 10 1000. And you can see the needle did not go past this little green band here, and the battery recovered, and it's probably going to recover to 12 and a half, 13. volts or so once we give it a minute. This battery, by the way, I did load test for testing, so it's not completely fully charged. So we'll fully charge it before we hook it back up into the car. If you run another test right after, again, you see it's still staying in this green zone. You may not be able to see that needle, but it's staying up there in about the 10.5 volts mark. So after 10 seconds, it's still at, it's at 11 volts. And that heater element's gotten quite hot. It's gotten red hot. So no more than 10 seconds at a time. And you might want to give it a little bit of a rest to cool down. So there you have it. 11 volts during our load test versus probably 8 to 7 volts. That told us definitively that that other battery was bad, and it tells us that the new one is good. So let's button this all up, and then we've got one more job to do inside the car. Now, one of the things I like to do, even with new batteries, is use this tool. This is just a cleaner for both the clamp and the post, and even with a new battery, there'll be some oxidation. These all ship with caps. So I like to clean them off. You'll see right away the dullness will go away. And then you can use this part of the tool to clean the inside of the clamp out. And if you are seeing a clamp that's heavily rusted or corroded from battery acid that's been leaking out, then you should think about replacing it. In this case, everything is looking good. One last step. And again, because I'm in the Rust Belt, I suggest grabbing yourself some dielectric grease, and we will apply to each terminal. Now, dielectric grease is not conductive, so it's not enhancing conductivity. What it is doing, though, is preventing corrosion on this post. And when you tighten the clamps, you're going to get a good contact despite the grease. So, yeah, we're going to put some on this guy. Again, can't really go wrong with dielectric. And then we're going to hook this back up. You're going to get a little spark from the last terminal you hook up. You may hear some clicking. And we're going to push this clamp down. Make sure, give it a little twist. And then we're going to snug it back up with the 10mm wrench. We don't want to go too crazy. We're just going to tighten that up until it feels good and snug. Last thing you want, though, is a loose clamp. That will create potentially a very dangerous situation down the road if the 12-volt disconnects. I should mention that the fact that there is this white powder is a sign that the other battery might have been leaking a bit. So we're going to get rid of that. You could use baking soda. I'm just going to hit it with the wire brush. Okay, and try not to put acid on your car. And one thing that I do typically is I will spray these with a product called Noxidol. And one of the things that if you live in the Rust Belt, you might want to get some of this, Noxidol 700. This is a cavity wax. I use it whenever I'm worried about corrosion. So I will liberally apply this. It's a bit of a mess, but again, I'm not worried about a mess here. I'm just going to basically give the underside of this a hit with the Nox. There's hooks here that will engage with holes at the bottom of the battery tray. And I should mention too, if you haven't cleaned out your battery tray, if there's a lot of garbage in there, now's the time to clean it out. 10mm deep socket is handy to have. If you just have a 10mm socket, you can make do with that. But I will tell you that that is not always the easiest way to do this job. And then, again, I'm just putting this Nox on there to keep corrosion at bay. This is a cavity wax that has some chemicals in it that deal with rust. So that's done. Now we're going to go inside. There's a little more work to do. All right, we're back in the vehicle, battery's in, we have it powered up. And one thing that we may or may not need to do, depending on the vehicle, is clear some codes. So in this case, I'm going to fire up this D7. So we're going to fire up this X-Tool D7, I believe this unit is, which is a bi-directional scanner. You could use a much simpler scanner like Leaf Spy, or if you have a Bluetooth USB ODB2 dongle that works with your vehicle, that'll work too. The X-Tool is kind of a fancy pants unit, but affordable. This X-Tool D7 is mid-range. It's not expensive by any stretch. It's not the cheapest tool. It has a lot of bi-directional control, which I like. And as it boots up here, we're going to connect it to the car, and we're going to read codes, because when you have low voltage on the systems from a 12-volt battery, you will get codes probably in every module in the car. So we're going to just go to auto scan here. I've been through this once before with this vehicle, so I'm not sure what codes we'll find, but there's probably going to be lots of them stored from, we'll just do automatic detection, read the VIN code. And we're going to automatic scan, and you'll see lots of modules have faults. In fact, the last time I checked this, just about every module had a fault, all related to low voltage. Now, you could disconnect the battery for an hour. Anything that's current will cause a problem. Anything that's stored will just stay there. I'm just going to clear them out, though. Okay, so you can see faults all over the place. And we're just going to clear all of them. It's going to go through and clear them. That's it. So we're done. I'm going to make sure that battery's fully charged before I take off and let my daughter drive the car again. But that's it for the diagnostic. Well, there you go. The repair is done. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. And again, a like and subscribe is super helpful to the channel. Thanks and have a good day.